Yo, what's good everybody? It's your boy Prez, and in this video I'm going to be putting the Elden Ring bosses on a tier list. Now the way that I'm doing this ranking is actually going to be on your first playthrough. So imagine the first time you ever played Elden Ring and the encounter that you had the first time you fought them. Don't think about it now and how easy the boss is or how you could kill it with meta or whatever. Just think about the first time you played the game and how difficult it was. But before we get into it, if you guys could leave me a like on this video, that'd be amazing. So thank you so much if you do that. And also leave me a comment down below. Tell me who you guys think the hardest boss in the game is besides Melania. Obviously everyone would be putting Melania, so don't tell me Melania. Tell me who you think the hardest boss is besides Melania. But let's get into this. I'm going to be going in order of the list. So first off, we're going to be going with Renala, and I thought Renala was a pretty easy fight, so I'm going to put Renala in D, and I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think I ever had a hard Oh, if any of you guys go to the gym and you get those shoulder pains, dude, Jesus. All right, anyways, I don't really remember having a hard time with Renala, so I'm gonna put her in D tier. Up next, we got Godric, and I mean, personally, again, I didn't have a hard time with Godric. I know my friends did. Actually, one of my friends, his name is Booze, he quit the game because of Godric, so he couldn't beat Godric and never played again. So personally, me, I'm gonna have it in D tier, but I know a lot of people struggle on this boss the first time they fought him. Commander Nile. Now, if this is the commander, I'm pretty sure, yeah, I think this is the one in front of the secret medallion, right? So that one is actually a pain to fight just because he spawns the banished knights. Yeah, this is a harder fight. This is actually definitely a harder fight. I would rather fight, okay, let me think. So between Renala and Godric, I'd rather fight Renala, so I'm gonna move Godric up to C, and then I'm gonna have Commander Nile at A. I would fight Godric 2 times over than fight that Commander Nile fight again. That fight was insanely annoying. I just remember the first time I encountered that, I thought it was ridiculous. Okay, this boss is probably the least known boss I have in this game. I know this is the one with the Halleck tree. I'm pretty sure, right? Well, yeah, I'm assuming it is. And I never had a hard time with this boss ever. Like, literally ever. I just never had a hard time with that boss. I don't even know if that boss has ever killed me in any of my playthroughs, so I'm gonna put it E tier. I don't know if I'm completely saying like some crazy shit right now, but I just don't remember having a hard time with that boss ever. The Red Wolf of Radagon, dude, this boss at one point pissed me off. The one in the mountaintop of the giants is way more annoying than the actual boss fight, so for that reason I move it up. But this actual boss fight wasn't that difficult. I think it was harder than Godric though, just because of the whole path that you have to take to get there. It's long and annoying. You gotta pass by a bunch of enemies, and at that point in the game you don't have a lot of flasks. So I'm gonna put this Red Wolf at B, because again, I'd rather fight Godric than the Red Wolf. The Godskin Apostle. Now, I went to this boss way too early on my first playthrough, and I thought that I was literally at like one of the fucking hardest bosses in the game. But when you go to Caelid when you're supposed to and you fight him, he's really not that difficult. Especially when you learn their moveset. I mean, you fight so many of these enemies in Elden Ring, it's ridiculous. There's probably like 8 encounters with this specific boss in that game. So, or in one playthrough. So, I guess the first time I encountered him was B tier. But as you learn the boss, I mean, I could go all the way down to E tier. Like, I could literally fight this boss right now and not even get hit once by him. So where do I put him? I don't know. I'd rather fight him than Godric, and I'd rather fight him than Renala, and I'd rather fight that knight at the Halleck tree. So yeah, I'll put him low D. I think I'm happy with that. Okay, this fight, the Elmir guy, I gotta put him above Red Wolf. Yeah, the fucking website's laggy and these ads are annoying. I wish that I could get these ads off, but I don't know how to. I'd rather fight him than the Red Wolf for sure, because the room that you have to fight this motherfucker in is annoying. But I'd rather fight Commander Nile. Or would I? No, I wouldn't. Actually, I'd rather fight him than Commander Nile. But I'll put him low A, because I don't think that he can be on the same playfield as the Red Wolf of Radagon, because the Red Wolf of Radagon is so much easier than Elmir. But Elmir's only hard because of the room. The room is so cramped, and there's all the tables and chairs that you have to break. I'm pretty sure, like, if you just walk into him, it's a problem. So you have to roll into him to get him away. And if you roll in that fight, he throws a sword, like, it opens you up. So for that reason, it's annoying. but that particular enemy isn't that hard. So I don't know. I'm gonna go high B, but I don't think it's really A. All right, now up next we got Rykard, and this is, if this was a tier list on how cool the boss is, I would easily have Rykard in S tier. If this was a boss fight list of all of the bosses from all the Souls games, I'd still have him S tier for how cool the boss is. But for difficulty reasons, I mean, it's a gimmick fight. It's a low D. Yeah, I guess there. I mean, honestly, E, because the first time I encounter him, the first time I played the game, obviously, you could just stun lock him like crazy. I mean, it's stupid. I mean, you get a free weapon that does insane damage to it, so I'll put it low E. But if this was a tier list on how cool the boss is, that's S tier. That's the coolest boss that FromSoft has ever made, in my opinion. I mean, but I think a giant snake that's been corrupted is sick. The animations are all sick. Everything about this boss fight is so cool to me. I just wish it wasn't a gimmick. I wish if it was a gimmick, they could have done something cooler, or just not even make it a gimmick at that point and just have it be a cool boss fight. But yeah, for that reason, it's E. The fire giant is just annoying because he's just, you know, a giant. He's ridiculously big, so all of his attacks are annoying. And you know what, now I'm thinking about it, I want to put Commander Nile in a B, and I don't want to put fire giant at A, or do I don't know. The fight was just annoying the first time I fought him, but the first time I fought him I had Rivers of Blood, because at that point you get Rivers of Blood. So Rivers of Blood was broken back then. It made everything easier. It's kind of hard to gauge. If I didn't have Rivers of Blood, it'd probably be an A tier weapon, or an A tier boss. It's just because of how big he is and how much damage and how annoying and how much health he has. It's like, for all those reasons, I feel like I have to put him A. It's just an annoying boss. Like, it's not difficult, it's just annoying. Yeah, but anyways, all right, let's go. All right, what do we got next? All right, next we got the gargoyles. Dude, the gargoyles in this Souls game these are the easiest gargoyles we've ever encountered, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know how you could really say no. The Dark Souls 1 gargoyle fight was so annoying. The Dark Souls 2 one was annoying. The Dark Souls 1 was obviously the most annoying though. I mean, I remember when I was little, I was stuck on that shit for so long. The gargoyles on this game just really aren't that difficult compared to those ones. They just have stupid moves. Like, they're just massive, which is like a problem in these games when enemies are so big that they clip their swords and spears through the wall and hit you. Like, there's the one in Kaled. He just hits you through the staircase and stuff. Like, the hitboxes are all messed up. I mean, it's not A tier. It's not B tier. I'll give it C tier. I'll give it top of C, above Godric. But yeah, it's just because it's ridiculously big, but it's not difficult at all. The Mimic tier is E. This is like bottom of E. The Mimic tier is a joke. That fight was literally a joke. It was cool, but it was a joke. The Godskin, no, it was the fat one. Now, the fat one on his own is like the same. Like, they're like the same. I'll say the tall skinny one was a little bit more difficult than the fat one. The only thing the fat one has going for it is the stupid ass move where he jumps in the air and inflates and rolls. That, I don't know what they were thinking when they made that, because in the duo fight, I feel like there's no way to dodge it. If you stand behind a pillar, it'll infinitely roll and never stop, and then until it hits you. That's the only way it stops. It just stops when it hits you. I don't know why it's like that. It's just stupid. But by itself, it's a piece of cake. Like, so I think it's D tier. Godfrey, okay. More difficult than Commander Nile, probably. Yeah, I guess it is. I don't know. It's not that difficult. I don't know. The Red Wolf I'll move down, like looking at it now. I'll put it behind Godric. I just don't think Godfrey was that difficult. I think I'll put it there. I think Commander Nile was more difficult than Godfrey. I don't know. I don't know where to put the Fire Giant. It's like, it's throwing me off so hard because I don't know where the Fire Giant should be. I don't think it should be A. I just don't, but I'll leave it at A. I don't. Okay, I think I'll be more happy like that, honestly. Because I died to Commander Nile way more times than I died to the Fire Giant. The Fire Giant's just big and annoying and has a shit ton of health. It's not difficult. The Crucible Knight and the Misbegotten Warrior. This fight was actually, you know what? I remember because most of my friends, they didn't, when this game first came out, everyone was playing this shit. So I just remember I went this way to Kaled because I wanted to go a different way than all my friends were going. They went like the normal way, and they never had to do this fight. And I mean, if you might not even know this fight's in the game, because I'm pretty sure there's a point that if you get so far, you don't have this fight anymore. It's no longer an option because the festival started, and it's not going to spawn the boss and those NPCs in the same room. So you might not even know this is a fight. Like, my friends didn't even know this was a fight, and I fought these people, and I was tweaking because the Crucible Knight at this point in the game, if you go here this early, the Misbegotten Warrior, I didn't know his moveset yet. He was kicking my ass. The second I finally kill him, you also have to deal with the Crucible Knight, which is the first time you ever fight one of them too. So you have to learn both their movesets for the first time. And the Crucible Knight comes in like, I think like 25 seconds into the fight. So you don't have a long time to kill the warrior unless you're able to cheese it and kill him really quickly. So again, the way that I'm doing this tier list is when you encounter them for the first time. It's not now, because if it's now, I would shift shit all around. Like, currently, with like current meta, current things that I know about bosses and stuff, like I would have the Godskin Apostle at the very bottom of D, just because of how many times I've fought him. I know their moveset. This is the first time you encounter him, and for the first time I encountered this fight, it was harder than all of this. I was stuck on this Crucible Knight and Misbegotten Warrior fight for so long that I ended up going a complete different way and then coming back to it because I was so underleveled and so underprepared for this. But had I gone there at a time when I was prepared and I was more used to those enemies, maybe it'd be easier. But again, like I said, this is the first time I encountered them, and the first time I encountered them, it was a painful fight. All right, well, up next we got Margit. Dude, the first time you encounter Margit, I mean, okay, again, like I said, this is the first time you encounter these enemies. The first time you encounter Margit, it was everybody. When Elden Ring first came out, everyone was stuck on Margit. It was like an accomplishment if you actually beat a Margit. You had to go an entire separate way, get upgrades, you had to level up, get weapons. You had to do all this shit just to beat Margit the first time. And for that reason, it's definitely S tier. Like, it was so difficult at that point that it has to be S tier. I don't know how you couldn't. I mean, you could probably put it A tier, but like, everyone was struggling on Margit when we first got in the game. Like, everyone was. But I think there are bosses that are more difficult, so I will put it A, because there are bosses that are more difficult, but it's definitely a high A. Radahn, dude, a lot of people were struggling with Radahn. I never did, but that's because, like I said, I was going completely different ways and wrong ways and stuff. I mean, I guess there's no wrong way to go, but I was just going a different way than most people were. So I had gotten this fight, and at that point, I had experienced a lot of the game. When a lot of people fought Radahn pretty early, I fought Radahn pretty late into the game because I was just exploring. Like, I was just kind of like taking the game in and having fun. So I didn't fight Radahn super early, and I know a lot of people did. So if you had this fight early and you were underleveled and underprepared for this, like you didn't have a good enough upgraded weapon and stuff, or even a bad weapon, it's definitely a hard fight. But I mean, the summons and the fact that I came to this fight so much later, I think I'll put it ahead of the Fire Giant, but before the Crucible Knight and Misbegotten Warrior fight. I'm pretty happy with where he is there because this is my personal tier list. So the Lich Dragon fight, I didn't even end up taking this fight until like the fourth time I played the game because I didn't know this boss was even a thing. And so I saw a TikTok about it and I was like, wait, what? I never encountered that fight. So I ended up figuring out how to do it. But at that point, it was like I was making videos like for you guys, and that was like early into it when I was showing off like meta stuff and the best builds. So I had an insanely good Rivers of Blood build. So I just destroyed this boss. I never really have encountered this boss, to be honest. Like, I fought him one time, kicked his ass, and that was it. I mean, maybe it's a difficult fight, I don't know. But in my experience, it's just not. Dude, Placidusax is... yeah, I'll put Placidusax S tier. I didn't know where to go when I got to the Azula place, or whatever it's called. And I found this boss on accident, didn't know that it was not supposed to be, like, found intentionally. So I thought this was the main fight when you're here, and I was doing this over and over and over again, and I was like, dude, I can't figure this out. So I'm definitely putting it S tier because I was stuck on this fight for a long time. Up next we got Morget. This fight is not as hard as the Margit fight because at this point you're a lot more prepared for the fight. I think I'll put it here, bottom B, or honestly top C. I'm cool with top C because I don't really remember dying in this fight at all. All right, next we got Mo. I don't know. It's another one of those things that, like, by the time you get to this fight, you're so prepared and so ready. It's not that difficult. It's like the earlier bosses in an open world game are gonna be a lot harder because it's an open world game and the intention is that you go off the beaten path and kind of do some other stuff. Like when the game is linear, like all the other Dark Souls games, and you fight the first bosses, like they're not that difficult. Like if you go to Dark Souls 1, the first couple bosses are not that hard because it's a linear game and you're supposed to like gear up to it. And so by the point that you get to Mo, you should be so geared that it's not that difficult. He does have that move though. To this day, I still don't know how to dodge when he does this. He sticks the spear in the air 3 times. I still don't know how to dodge that. I don't know what the hell you're supposed to do. I'll put him top of B, but I'd rather fight him than Commander Nile. I think Commander Nile is I don't know if, like, you guys gotta tell me in the comments. I don't know if me putting Commander Nile in A tier is crazy or if like people agree, but I think it is a crazy hard fight. Like, I'm honestly interested. Where would you guys put Commander Nile? I'm so interested because I don't know if I have this way too high or if people agree with this. All right, next we got Malekith. This is, at this point, the hardest boss fight. Malekith is way more harder than Placidus Axe just because Malekith's phase 2 is stupid. It's so dumb. Like, I mean, I know that the skill of players playing Souls games, like, we're getting better and better, so the bosses have to get more and more difficult, but this fight was just different. It was the way that he was jumping around the pillars and throwing the sword at you. That shit was so crazy hard at that time. The first time I encountered Malekith, I was stuck, so I'm gonna put Malekith S tier, but I wasn't stuck for that long. I think the only boss I was really stuck for a long time on was probably Melania, but that's because I wasn't using a Mimic tier on purpose. I mean, had I used Mimic tier, I don't think I would have been stuck on him that much because I used Mimic tier for Malekith, but all my friends beat Melania without Mimic tier, so I was like, dude, I'm not gonna be with a Mimic tier. So Fia's Champions is just like, this feels like a gimmick fight. I mean, I'd rather fight the Mimic tier, but I'd rather fight the Knight of the Havoc Tree, so I'm gonna put it very bottom of E. All right, next we got Radagon, the Elden Beast. I don't know why they have this fight together. I mean, I guess they did that with other things. I don't know why they didn't have like a phase 1, phase 2, but because this shouldn't even be together. I mean, I guess technically it's one fight, but I would put Radagon higher than Elden Beast because I think Elden Beast is just kind of a dumb fight. I don't know where to put it. Like, Elden Beast I would put behind Fire Giant because Elden Beast is not difficult. Radagon, the first time you encounter him until you learn his moveset, is an A tier. So I mean, I guess if it's coming as a 2-deal package, I mean, if it's coming as 2 together, it's top of A. Because if you're talking about the whole fight in one string the first time you encounter it, no matter how geared you are at that point, it's still a hard fight. So the first time you did it, so I'm gonna say A tier, top of A. But I don't know, I don't want to move it into S tier. The Godskin Duo is bottom of S tier because the first time I encountered this, okay, to be honest, I think I was stuck on this longer than anything else in the game, but I'm not gonna put it top of S because I was kind of like messing around with it. I think I was trying to record a video. So like I was like going into the fight and dying, and then I got to a point where I was just getting frustrated, but it wasn't like crazy difficult. I just was kind of trolling. The only thing that's difficult is I like how they put it in the picture for the boss fight is him like doing the fucking rolling attack. That's the only thing that's difficult about the entire fight, is just when this motherfucker makes himself fat and starts rolling at you. That's the only thing that's difficult about this entire encounter. But I'll say bottom of S. Melania's, I mean, I think we all understand it's just the hardest boss in the game. I don't think there's really much more to say about that. If you don't think it's difficult, don't use Mo's Sacred Spear or Rivers of Blood or whatever the hell is OP. Just use a normal weapon and don't use a Mimic Tier, and watch how long it'll take compared to anything else if you do that same thing with. Alright, the Ancestral Spirit, it's a joke fight. I'll say bottom of E. It's literally a joke. I don't know if this thing's even ever hit me. I don't know what that is. The Magma Worm was like high D. Yeah, I'd say high D. I don't think the Magma Worm was difficult at all. The Misbegotten, first time I encountered this was difficult. Not that difficult. I'll say it's behind the Magma Worm. The Flying Dragon Agheel. Wait, what? Is this the one that's this is the one that's in the swamp, right? Okay, well, I mean, if it's the one in the swamp, you can fight on the horse and do crazy damage. I'd rather fight. I don't know if I'm crazy for having this here. Like, I don't know if this is crazy. Like, I want to make a new tier saying like I can't judge, because I really can't judge this. I've only fought it one time. There's so many requirements to get this fight that it's just like I don't care to go out of my way to do it. And like, if I did it right now, how would I do? I don't know. I'd probably just use an OP weapon on it. If I make a whole new playthrough, it's like at this point I'm too experienced in the game. I'm gonna keep it where it is and put Agheel here. Bro, Sir Gideon is, I think if you die to Sir Gideon or the Mimic Tier, you don't really know how to play the game. Astel was really overhyped. Like, when this game first came out, it was like a huge thing to like post on TikTok or YouTube Short, like hardest boss in Elden Ring. Like, everyone used the scream voice and shit. It wasn't that difficult. It really wasn't. I'll say it's like the same difficulty as Mo. It just wasn't that difficult. The Dragonskin Soldier was annoying, but not difficult. It just, the stupid fucking hitboxes. I'll put it with the Fire Giant and Radagon. Or I mean, Radon. Alright, and finally we have the full-grown Fallen Star Beast. This, I'll say, is behind... I'll say it's in front of Radon. I think I'm cool with it being there. Just because I didn't know that it had a soft spot in the front of the face, and once I figured that out, it's not that difficult. Especially, I'm pretty sure at that time I was using Moonveil, because Moonveil was good at that point. And if you hit him with Moonveil as he's charging at you, it instantly stuns him. So I never really had a hard time with that fight. But that's gonna do my list. I'm really interested where you guys would put Commander Nile. Tell me where you guys would put Commander Nile in the comments. Or, I mean, anything. Like, even the Lich Dragon. Like, tell me if the Lich Dragon is way too low. Or just where you would put everything, and who in your opinion is the hardest boss in Elden Ring. But thanks for watching, especially if you made it all the way through. I don't know, I mean, this video might be pretty boring. I'm not like energetic and being crazy and scripted and stuff. I'm just kind of like giving my opinion on boss fights and stuff. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'm out, bro. Peace.